Peace. Peace, Shelby. Say peace, Mamacita. She's going to sniff at it. That's her way of talking and saying hi. Sometimes. Peace. What's good? I am inviting you to hang with me on this beautiful evening. I don't know if it just started, it just stopped raining maybe about half an hour ago. So I don't know if that's why there's not that many mosquitoes or it's my spray that's working. But yeah, out here enjoying the weather, the lights in the back. I love lights. I feel like they make such a big difference. It's beautiful how such small details can make a really big difference. If the pool lights were off right now, it just would look like just dark. I don't even know if you'd be able to even tell it would probably look like an empty pool because you wouldn't even be able to tell the water in there. Which, I mean, now you can't either. Maybe the shimmer. You can see the shimmer, I think. Yeah, you can see the shimmer right here. And obviously the reflection from the light bulb right there. The little small things that we can make in our lives can make the biggest improvements. They really can make the biggest differences. They can make the biggest differences. I feel like it's so beautiful how if one thing isn't working or it's not that it's not working or it's just like meh, can always try little things. Try the smallest of things to see if that creates any change, creates a different emotion that feels more brighter. Speaking in colors, that feels more brighter, it feels more welcoming, it feels more, I want to say alegre, more vibrant, more alive, more joyful. 222, just something that's just so balanced, where you feel balanced. 222. 222 is reminding me why I even decided to just hang out and share. And I invite you to hang out with me because I decided to pass up on some plans I got invited to, which is actually really nice if you think about it. I love it because, okay, my mind's bouncing around everywhere like a big ball right now. Okay. I'll get to everything. I'll get to what's meant for me to say. So at some point in my life, I was, through me creating and always feeling present in the existence of what I'm trying to create. So a few years ago, I was already training myself, programming myself to be comfortable with declining plans, because I feel like sometimes when we are so afraid of declining plans, there's something going on there. Maybe we're thinking in lack that there's not going to be another great thing that comes around, or maybe thinking in the sense of feeling like you're going to miss out on something for not being there. A lot of times when we're thinking in whatever energies that relate to those ones, whatever else comes up, it's usually because, usually when we act on those emotions where we're thinking in lack, we're thinking in thinking that something that's only going to be a one-time around type of thing, and we're going to miss out on these opportunities. When we're thinking that way and we choose to do otherwise than our intuition, which is or our higher selves, our true selves, that is never in lack, that never thinks in, oh, if I don't go now, then I'm not going to have another opportunity. If I don't go now, I'm going to miss out on something cool. If I don't go now, then whatever it is, or if I don't do something, it could also be in different things of us choosing to do something or choosing to not do something. When we feed on the fearish mentality or the fearish energy, a lot of times, like if it's going to a certain place, you end up realizing like, oh man, why did I even come? I should have paid attention to myself and just not worried about thinking that there isn't going to be another time that comes back around like this, and feel safe in the knowing that if I'm intuitively feeling guided to not do or not go or whatever it is, it's because there will be other opportunities, there will be other situations, there will be other whatever it is that comes up. Forgot where I was. Oh yeah, so tonight I decided to, and so I started placing a program in myself that was comfortable with saying, no, I'm going to pass on this plan. I'm going to pass on this event. I'm going to pass on going here. Knowing that there's so much going on all the time, and what's meant for me to go to, I'll feel it 100%, or I'll feel it more. Not fear, that was an accident. I'll feel it more than like let's say 85% sure, like yeah, as opposed to having to think like I'm feeling like I shouldn't, but I'm thinking like, well, maybe I'm not going to have this opportunity again, or thinking that this is the only chance, or thinking that you're going to miss out on something, or I don't know. So because I started programming myself to that a while ago, there literally is so much that happens out here. I live in Tulum, and I'm totally okay with missing events, missing out on like things tonight. My friend invited me to go to a new moon cacao ceremony at the beach. And I've been to this one specific one before. And for some reason, I mean, and even when I was telling her, I was voice messaging her back and telling her, I mean, I can't even think of a reason why I'm feeling like I should just pass up on it. Because when I went, it was beautiful. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And being out there on the beach, I mean, it's beautiful. It's amazing. For some reason, something just guided me to just stay home. I also had an event that I just got back from, that I had an intuitive workshop that I have at a cenote. So today they had an event. I got to go back on Sunday, which is when Sundays I'm always there for my event and for my workshop. And I was feeling like I had just gotten back, and I just felt like I should just stay behind and just chill on my own. And that brings me to why I even decided to do this, and why I'm even saying hang out with me. Because I chose to hang out with myself today. I chose to, even though the plan sounded amazing, I chose to put myself first, put my calm. I wanted to just feel calmness. Even though, I mean, the event was chill, it was super chill. But I always like to recharge and to just take some moments for myself to just be just be with myself and my own energy and my own space, and not just be jumping like a ball, jumping like a bouncy ball from one place to another, and not allowing myself to rest, to ground, to feel ease, to feel calm. Even if in my other settings I'm still calm, and I'm usually always in a calm, chill setting. I don't go to I'm not out at parties. That's not my vibe. That's not my vibe at all. It's not my vibe at all. And it's funny because usually when I ignore my intuition and I ignore myself of what I'm feeling to just stay back and just stay home, just stay where I'm at, or whatever it is, whatever I'm being intuitively guided to do, when I ignore it, I go end up in an environment where it's not my vibe. It's not my vibe. And then I'm just like, oh man. Thank you, intuition, for teaching me yet again, reminding me, giving me another reminder that was you speaking to me, nudging at me. And I should have paid attention, because you never ever fail me. Our intuition never fails us, ever. So I've invited you to hang out with me and to be with me in my space as you are in your own space, and just hang out as just individuals. And I say all this because I've been more often than when because I mean, sporadically, it does come up, but this recently it's come up a lot more often, a lot more often, of being asked if about dating, if I'm dating, if just about dating. And I've been asked this question so often that it's just present in just valuing even more how much I value being in my own space, being comfortable with being with myself, by myself, not needing to be around people, or at least just even if it's just one person, or feeling like I always got to be somewhere so that I'm not alone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or, I don't know, escaping just being with myself. And I really feel there is so much power that we bring out within ourselves when we can be in a state of solitude, of truly existing with yourself, not being afraid of the silence, not being afraid of the noise at the beginning. For a long while, actually, that happens in here, that it continuously can happen in here. To be comfortable with literally just hanging out with yourself, being in your own company, learning how to take care of yourself, learning how to nurture yourself, learning how to give to yourself, learning how to trust yourself. Oh my gosh, that one was such a big thing for me. And it's always going to go back to intuition for me. There was a point in my life where I really lost so much trust within my own self, because even to put it this way, I would say, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm never going to X, whatever it is. And then I would lose, I would break that bond that I made with myself and do the same thing that I could have sworn I would have never done or accepted or allowed myself to receive ever. And that led me to not be able to trust my own self. It's like, okay, I'm telling myself that I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm telling myself that I'm not going to accept this anymore. And when I say do, it could be me, myself, choosing a lower frequency choice, action, whatever it is, or do something where, whatever it is, just doesn't matter specifics. By choosing those things that I, from my heart, from my soul, from my spirit, and from my truest self, said I would not do, I would not accept, I would not receive, I would not give out. Doing the very thing. Oh man. At some point I really didn't know, like, am I going to end up changing my mind? Am I going to end up allowing myself to break trust with my own self? And every way that I'm thinking about it right now also of me breaking these promises to myself. It's like a relationship with my own self that I needed to rebuild, that I needed to pour time into, that I needed to pour communication into, communicate with my own self. I needed to learn. I was such a horrible communicator, and I'm still not the greatest. I'm still working on it. But man, was I a really bad communicator, to the point where I just wouldn't even communicate because I just did not know how to word myself, how to express myself into emotions. And it's still present. You'll probably notice sometimes it's like I'm trying to figure out how to express this emotion that's coming through. What word can I use that's gonna express it however close I can? I needed to learn to communicate with my own self. I needed to learn the communication with myself. I really needed to learn that communication with myself. I needed to learn to trust myself so that I can learn to trust other people too. And that way I can attract other people who are also trustworthy like that too. Because when I wasn't being true and honest with myself and not breaking that loyalty and that bond with myself, then I attracted other people who were also very disloyal and very dishonest and didn't have a good, loyal relationship with their own selves either. When we get into relationships, when we are not in a good relationship with ourselves, we are dating that mirror of ourselves that needs that work. When we are not comfortable with being with ourselves, we choose to go out and date, we are now dating another version of ourselves that is also not comfortable with being with their own selves. That is not comfortable to face yourself, face your emotions, face those thoughts, face the memories, face the traumas. What's amazing about that is when you actually do face all that, yes, it can be ugly, but it can also just be really beautiful. It's not like you have to flicker through every single memory. It's not like you have to flicker through every single trauma. You can. But is it necessary? It's not. There's so many different ways of healing and so many different ways of self-realization and things that we can do that are part of helping us in this soul evolution. I really would love, I would love to I would love to be able to just touch some people, just touch them, and for whatever fear or sadness or trauma or whatever it is that could be on a lower frequency energy that they're holding on to, that they're afraid of facing, that they're just carrying with them, and that has also rippled into their life itself, of not being able to be alone, fearing being alone, or even the opposite, where they fear of being with someone else. They fear whatever reaction it is that is caused from whatever effect is from the cause of this baggage that gets carried. I would find it so amazing if we could just go around and touch people, and for all of that to just, like fairy dust, just get blown away like dust in the wind. 222. I feel like that would be so amazing, because there's so many things that are going on in this world right now that is the root of it is us fearing our own selves, fearing love. Isn't that something? That we are existing in such a world where people fear love. People fear really going within themselves. People fear to look into their own eyes. Have you noticed when people cannot look at you in your eyes and they stray away? Especially if you talk to them about their own selves, where you know that it's an intimate sentence you tell them. If you give them a compliment, notice how they react. If they can stay looking at you in your eyes, that tells a lot. If someone can't, there's shame there, there's guilt there, there's something there that's not, they don't feel they're worthy enough to receive that compliment or that beautiful gesture, because they look away, they look down, they there's something in there. When people are not being true and are not being trustworthy too, some people can pull it off, which is crazy, but you can always feel it through energy regardless. For the most part, if someone's not being honest or someone's not being true to themselves, they cannot look you in your eyes. And if they can, run. Because there are people who can. I know they can. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. But really, it is. There's no words to explain how we could be afraid of ourselves, how we could be afraid of love. And it's crazy because a lot of people who are afraid of some capacity of love continue to be in relationships. They're afraid of giving their full selves. They're afraid of really facing their full selves. They're afraid of all of these hidden parts within themselves. Afraid of also being hurt in a certain way, carrying some type of trauma from another relationship, and afraid of that happening again. And yet, continue to find themselves in a relationship. I don't understand it. At some point, I mean, I've never really been a relationship person myself as it is. Yeah, it's not important, but I haven't. And I mean, maybe, yeah, when I was super young, like when I was super young, I did date, but I still wasn't dating around. Like it was like little flings where nothing would even happen. It was just texting, at the most times, majority of times, like 90% of the time, almost all the time. Um, but even then, I forgot what I was even saying. Oh, it's just kind of pointless. Um, oh, yeah, I have, when I have been in a relationship, I've realized how I've also been carrying these fears of loving, fears of giving my full self, of fear of someone really deeply getting to know me, the fear of someone leaving, a lot of fears of being cheated on again, fears of being done wrong, fears of someone. I don't know. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. And can I say that um, that I chose not to get in a relationship when I still had those fears? Were they were they at the top of my head? Probably not. And yes, I got into a relationship. But that relationship also, every relationship has helped me see, feel, do self-reflection to realize all these things that I still am carrying some type of fear with. And especially now, I have never been as conscious and aware as I am now of life itself and within my own life, in my own universe in here. And I absolutely would not jump into another relationship, not working on all these things that my previous relationship, or even whatever my relationship before that, helped me realize that I needed to work on. That those moments where I told myself I would never do this, I would never do that, or I would never accept this, or I would never said that, on both ends, were even me doing things that I should never do, have at one point would have told myself I would have never done and did. So those situations of different things accumulating, of me not trusting myself and losing that trust and that bond and that loyalty and that honesty within myself, the last thing on my mind is ever to be dating around when I know I have things to work on within myself, when I know that there's a relationship that I need to work on here. The relationship with myself, being comfortable with being in my own energy with, for the most part, I've been for a really long time. I'm not a relationship person. I love relationships, actually. I love when I'm in a relationship with obviously I want to say with the right person, but obviously I haven't dated the right person. For the moment, it was the right person. I'm talking about like my soul partner. I'm not interested in dating around. I'm not interested in I'm not interested in dating around. And I don't understand why we've gotten to this where people are constantly just out trying to find somebody before they've found their own selves. 3111. Before connecting with their own soul, mind, and body. Before aligning and balancing, facing those fears. Yes, of course, relationships help us a lot because they show us things that they put things in the forefront for us of things that we've worked on and things we haven't worked on. There's different piles there. Baggage, things that it's like, we had to empty out the suitcase. We can't keep carrying around this luggage. That's just a waste. That's just carrying extra weight for no reason. Relationships can be really beautiful to help us honor who we are, to help us grow in different ways.